welcome to the second episode of We Don't Have It Yet. I am your host, Wyatt, here with my tall, dark, and handsome friend.
I'll take the tall part. I'm about as pasty and white as an individual can possibly be, but I'll definitely take. Can't argue with the tall part.
I meant your demeanor.
Oh yeah, well that's awful. Yeah, sorry. Uh, how are you, sir? Good to talk to you. As we slowly try and work out an intro segment for this show.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. It's Friday finally, which is super fantastic. Weekend's coming up, and kind of ready to relax. What about you?
Been a solo dad all week. Mom was in Buffalo for work. So she hopped over the lakes to Western New York and got to eat at Bar Bill for our extra napkins friends.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And got some wings at Duff's and got a beef on weck and wings there at Bar Bill too. So that was pretty cool because we travel to eat. So I was living vicariously through her while juggling camp schedules and dog schedules and all sorts of fun stuff with trying to work. And yeah, no big deal. I always like it when it's just he and I for the week because I actually get attention because his mother is not an option anymore. So he doesn't get to have his preferences. He's just like, okay, yeah, I'm okay with you, so we can hang out. No, so that was cool. And yeah, I don't know. What you watching? Anything? Or what you like? You playing anything?
Yeah, actually, I just was scrolling through the wonderful Microsoft Game Pass list because, just about every week they're adding and subtracting things that I never knew existed.
Yeah, I can't even keep up with it in any way whatsoever. So it's a good
No.
thing that my subscription has been bought out to like the end of 2027 for a product that I really don't often use very much.
Yeah, but it's nice that it's there, I guess. I personally I used to subscribe.
Buy on Steam sale anyway at some point when you want to play it on PC the following week, or I do the same to you. It's
Yeah,
it's a demo service half the time. I swear to God.
and that's kind of the way I've been using it. I just picked up. It's called Wheel World. Wheel. It's a bicycle racing RPG, I
Oh,
guess
you
is how I would
you
describe
commented
it.
about this the other day, yeah.
Yeah, so not to give a ton away about it, but you're a random person that wakes up on an island, has no idea where you are, and you find an enchanted bicycle that is possessed by a spiritual demon that needs to find the legendary parts to their bicycle to help, I believe, people travel to the afterlife, I think is the gist of
Language.
it.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah, so I think it's a beautiful game. It's a cell shaded game. I've only put about 40 minutes or so into it, but
finally someone that accurately reflects their time for gaming during the week. I thought you were gonna be like,
yeah,
I've only got like 7-8 hours so far, but like yeah.
yeah, I got enough to I got off of the tutorial island onto the first area, completed a couple missions, and I can definitely see myself not putting the game down. Like I think I will actually continue playing through it. It has a really good feedback loop, I suppose. You unlock new parts for the bike, either a new seat, new wheels, new whatever, and you customize your bike to give you better stats. Like in any RPG.
That dopamine drip coming.
Yeah, they got me good.
Yeah.
But I think that's been the main crux of new stuff I've played.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, I'd be lying if Bellatrop wasn't mentioned, but I can't just bring that trope every single week. But no, I've been playing on Switch a game that passed me by. I think it passed a lot of people by. Gravity Circuit.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of it.
Okay, so it's a 2D platformer, and it's kind of halfway between, I would say, Mega Man and Bionic Commando.
What did you say the name of it was? Because I'm already interested.
Yeah, I mean, this is like in your wheelhouse for sure. It's called Gravity Circuit. And well, one of the gameplay things is switching gravity, so jumping onto the ceiling and stuff, and that way it's a lot like the game that I can't think of. Oh, that involves mechs.
Yeah.
From Super Nintendo. Okay, not in my head, but somebody will
Oh
tell
yeah,
me.
this is absolutely like Mega Man level design at least.
Oh yeah, no, and it's like, choose your boss and level, freestyle, choose how you want to play, get your upgrades every time you beat a new boss type of thing, but you also have like a hook shot where you can swing from the ceiling, so it's kind of Bionic Commando-y in that sense. But you have a lot of hand-to-hand combat stuff versus just like a pea shooter or whatever, so you can like power bomb and suplex enemies and dragon punch them and stuff, and it's it's old school difficult for sure. Like,
Mhm.
I consider myself decent in those type of games, and it's pretty punishing. And there are no difficulty options, so it's like straight up old school, super precise platforming controls. Precise timing jumps, all that good stuff. It would. I'd be shocked if it weren't in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the trailer for it right now, and yeah, that's a pretty accurate way to describe it. And yeah, I think sadly I'm gonna have to pick it up.
It was a $3 library sale score, and
Oh, you got it physical?
yeah, and never seen this before or seen anything about it, and I think somebody had mentioned it in a Discord channel at some point. And I was like, "Well, $3, I'll sure as hell try it." And yeah, lo and behold, it's great. But I've never seen anything about it really.
No, this
And you're pretty tapped into all this stuff, and I think it
yeah,
was, it's not Switch exclusive or anything. It was on Steam and all that good
yeah,
stuff.
huh. Yeah, no, that's gonna have to be
Worth checking
added to
out.
my
But
list.
yeah, just if you're not up for the challenge, it could be definitely frustrating. If you don't mind feeling a little controller chucky difficulty levels in platforming, yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I'd say go for it. And it was, well, I think it was cheap, normal price too. Not me getting it for $3, but like $20 maybe.
Yeah, I'm seeing it on Steam for 17 right now, so I'm gonna guess, Switch tax, it's probably 20, 25 or so, which probably fine.
And getting out of the games, then. Oh, speaking of gaming, though, and I sent you a picture of this. Did I talk about my projector project last week that I finally got to work?
You didn't talk about it yet. I've seen a few pictures of it, but it looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I had this kind of boneheaded, cheap guy idea to just see how, for how little I could put together a projection screen in my basement and projector, because all these mini projector technologies are just getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and looking better. So yeah, I think I had a projection, like a pull down screen on my Amazon wish list at some point last year, and my parents ended up buying it for me for Christmas. So it had just been sitting in a box for the last 7 months. It's nothing fancy. I think it was like a $60, screen. And through my thrifting adventures, have found a couple projectors, but ended up buying one now that I think this is going to be a more real thing. Um, and I think it was $140, and it's a short throw projector. Um, it supports 4K content, but at 1080p, obviously. Auto keystone correction, which means it like makes it fit the screen automatically, which is normally a huge pain in the ass. Auto and focusing and all that good stuff. And I'm just blown away by how nice it is. So for under $200, I now have like a 120-inch screen in my basement for nerdly activities. And yeah, anyway, plugged the Steam Deck into it the other night and was doing some couch gaming at 110 inches or whatever. Highly recommended. And as cheap as TVs are now too, this is somehow even cheaper, I think. uh, so I'm going to keep playing around with it. It's far from any type of near professional setup, but I'm always just amazed at how cheaply you can do things on the DIY. So it's been kind of a fun project. And I think that takes us into the next thing we were going to talk about, which was we watched a movie on it, which I understand you also watched, which was
Ah,
Happy
yes.
Gilmore 2,
Yes, Happy Gilmore too.
which I think broke every Netflix watching release record, what have you. Did I read that correctly for viewership for a new release? So I
Yep.
think
Yeah.
you and I watched it, and so did pretty much everyone else. Uh, I think I had said before to our friend John that I don't necessarily want to watch it because I'm leery of what it's gonna leave me feeling, but I do feel a duty that I have to watch it. Um, and I'm not upset that I did. I was pleasantly surprised in a lot of ways. What was your takeaway?
Yeah. I have always, well, let's say growing up, I was a big Adam Sandler fan. Adam Sandler, noted, New Hampshire icon. Uh, so I've watched
I'm not
his
sure that I
stuff.
knew that he was from New Hampshire. I have to be completely
Oh,
honest.
well, I guess you're not from New Hampshire, so it's not a
Yeah.
big deal for you. I believe he grew up in New York. He was born in New Hampshire, but he considers New Hampshire his hometown. It might be the other way around, but I know he considers New Hampshire home. Um, he spends a lot of time. He comes back to the state, and usually during the summer, you can just see Adam Sandler walking down the street in Manchester, just going out to a restaurant to eat.
In basketball shorts.
Oh yeah, basketball shorts, baggy shirt. He's got the Sandman style.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like you. I wasn't expecting a ton because we all know, Adam Sandler signed his mega deal with Netflix to basically just churn out movies for him because they're gonna make money.
Yeah.
Um, and
He gets
they,
whatever he wants basically, and already got
yes,
paid or has a deal paid, and they're gonna push whatever he wants because people watch the shit out of even the worst stuff that he makes. So why not, right? Win-win for
yeah.
everybody.
And Happy Gilmore 2, which I believe the first one was probably 96, so almost 30 years later from the first one.
Yeah, it seems to be the sequel math these days for what was it, Coming to America, and well, I guess that was 40 years. What other reboot sequels have they done recently?
Bill and Ted, that
Oh yeah,
was
there you go.
about 30, maybe, yeah, about 30 years because that came out, I think,
89.
2021. Yeah, the original one, 89.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but I thought it was, I think I probably enjoyed it a bit more than you did from our previous, prior talkings about it. But I, I thought it was good. It was really funny. I feel like it was the closest we've seen to 90s Adam Sandler than we've seen in many years.
Yeah,
They're
it was quite retaining some of that I don't know, I want to say heartfelt from the first one, but
yeah,
it's not just goofy all the time, over the top. Like there was some real story to it, and I don't. But it's still an Adam Sandler movie at the end of the day. I have
yeah,
trouble really expressing this. Yeah, if you like the first one, you love the first one, you grew up with the first one, you're gonna find ways to have a good time. I would certainly say that.
yeah,
And like you said, it came out in '96. It was one of like the most ubiquitous movies of my generation. You're a couple years younger than me, but I'm sure it's the same. Like
oh
if
yeah,
you went over to somebody's house, like it was not uncommon for that to just be on. You know, that's sort of one of those movies. Um, and I do love it for what it is, and I'll always like connect memories of that era in my life to it. So I think that's we're nostalgia bombing, and I could have done with a little less of that. That was like
yeah.
you made a reference to the first one, and I got that because I've seen the first one 10 gajillion freaking times, man. But I don't need to then be shown the 15-second clip of what they just referenced. Like that got under my skin to the point where I was like, um, that and the cameos, I just some of them were great, some of them really worked, and some of them were just completely shoehorned because Sandler's going, "Yeah, we'll put you in the movie." I swear it can't be more complicated than that.
Yeah, we when we'd first talked about it, you had mentioned, the cameos and the callbacks were a little over the top, and I didn't completely share that same point of view, but looking back, there was a lot of callback, like you said. It was, this was funny from the first movie, and then exactly like, let's show you this entire clip of what happened.
Yeah, so you know what it made me think of weirdly was did you watch the first season of Cobra Kai way back
Yes.
when I was on like
Yep.
YouTube Red?
Yep.
And they did tons of callbacks because obviously Pat Morita's dead. And so they would like replay these like really iconic scenes with Miyagi in that for that, deep emotional reconnection. And it worked there. And I feel like they were playing the same hand, but you're doing it with some like just stupid gag from 30 years ago that it doesn't really work the same way. And it would just have worked better if you just referenced the joke in a new way. And those people that wouldn't get it don't need to be spoon fed it.
Yeah, it was very, leading you to the water and making you drink it.
Yeah, and I hate that about modern media, dude. It's like, well, we have to include everybody who might not understand the joke. So here's the little thing. It's for you too. Like, no, they weren't watching it 30 years ago. Fair enough. If a young kid watched it and loved the original, he would get it too, or they can go back and watch the original. But you don't have to do that to your audience. I think it's just painting with the broadest brush possible. But then again, it's a Netflix Adam Sandler movie, so what else are we here for?
I think we were basically given best case scenario on this for an Adam Sandler Netflix movie.
It really is like, yeah, considering, and I mean, the product placement was a bit over the top too. As like John Daly has his signature beverage sitting on the table next to him at all times. Having said that, I thought he was great. I thought, who was the caddy? Was that Bad Bunny?
Bad Bunny, yeah.
Yeah, he was great too. And like at first I was like, oh, they just shoehorned him in, but then they kept, the character for the rest of the movie. And he was hilarious. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, he was, I guess he wouldn't really qualify as a cameo because as you said, he was actually a fairly big part of the movie. But yeah, he was a great addition. We had Ben Stiller came back, Christopher McDonald came back as Shooter McGavin. You have a lot of, of those characters coming back. But yeah, a lot of the shoehorned celebrities that was just like, you're going to have a 30-second part in this movie. Like,
yeah, I mean, what the hell is Kelsey doing there? I mean, who cares? Like,
that's exactly the one that I was thinking about.
I mean, Derrick Henry standing up at Ravens press conferences this week being like, Adam Sandler told me he's going to put me in the next movie. So I can't imagine it is more complicated than that. He's like, Sandler likes hanging out with these dudes, and he's like, yeah, come on, we'll bring you in. It's awesome. And there's something endearing about that because I think he is probably that genuine of a dude.
By all accounts, yeah, if you look at all of the movies he's really done since the mid-90s, like, he has his friends, and he has taken his friends along for the ride for the last 30 years, which is pretty admirable.
Roommates and stuff, and yeah. One of those guys ended up being a creep or something, if I recall, but...
Yeah.
The dude from Grandma's Boy.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot else about Happy Gilmore 2. Again, yeah, it's more Happy Gilmore. It's...
as we've talked about it, you're actually making me turn the page and be a little nicer about it because, yeah, I mean, what else could you have done with it, honestly? Like, I don't know if we needed all of the references to every single minor character from the first one and all that stuff. And if they had just trimmed a little bit of that indulgence, I think it could have been better. But, like, even the base story was fun, and the stuff with, I won't give anything away, but like all of his hidden flasks and all that stuff, that running gag was actually pretty funny. Even though they're like tackling, subject matter there. On the whole, I mean, yeah, it's good. You'll have fun. And if you have a Netflix subscription and you can watch it anyway, like, it's perfect for that. Yeah. Would I recommend you go out and see it at a theater? Probably not. But it is a perfect...
It's worth a 2-hour couch watch.
Yeah, I mean, that's all it has to be. What else does it need to be, right?
And, like I had said, going for an Adam Sandler, like, Adam Sandler's never been high cinema, but for an Adam Sandler movie, it's cleared the very low bar he has set for his Netflix movies so far.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, perfect Friday night watch. Am I going to have seen it, 50 times in 10 years? No. Not at all. Not even close. Will I watch it again? Maybe. But it's a nice little PS note on, cherry on top of the original. It doesn't hurt the existence of Happy Gilmore in the universe by any stretch. Sometimes these things come along and it makes you question why you loved the original kind of thing. Thank God it's not like that.
The one thing that I'd be curious to see if it ever actually comes out is during the production of this, Adam Sandler had the movie written, and I guess the original cut, I guess we could say, of Happy Gilmore 2 was supposed to really involve Carl Weathers' character, who obviously sadly passed away. So they had to basically rewrite the entire movie. So I would be curious to get a glimpse at what the movie was supposed to be.
Yeah, and you could go further into that with how they handled that. That it now that you mentioned it didn't feel totally natural, and it
Yeah.
yeah okay. So yeah, we
Yeah, without going into it, they do pay, homage to Carl Weathers, but it definitely feels like it was put in there because people would be like, "What about Chubbs?"
we got to figure something out here. Yeah, and the character that they kind of used to fill those shoes, I think. Yeah, it was. They
It
made
was
it work.
fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I guess that can kind of bring us to what we would like to discuss for our top 5 picks this week. Going from a discussion of Happy Gilmore 2 to discussing what we think our top 5 Adam Sandler movies are. Now, I'm not saying the 5 movies that we believe are Adam Sandler's best movies, but the top 5 movies as we would rank them on watchability, I guess I would say.
I think that's fair. Yeah, like, all right, I'll say this for example. This might be on your list, but it is not on mine. Uncut Gems. Really like that movie. I know a lot of people hated it because the Safdie brothers are there to make you uncomfortable for every single second of screen time. But I watched it and I was like, God damn, he was great. I can't see myself watching it again.
Yeah,
So
I loved that movie. Spoiler, I guess. I also do not have it on my list, but I would watch that movie again because it was, to me, that was one of the, I got the first because Sandler's had a couple serious roles, but seeing
yeah,
him in that light was pretty good.
he's got chops, man. Yeah, there's no
He
doubt
does.
about it. And he played that kind of scumbag, just that degenerate, desperate, gambling, chasing it thing so well that I think it made people too uncomfortable. And it got a lot of negative reactions from people that I knew that saw it. They're like, "I fucking stand it." This guy, I guess, I mean, that's the point. You're supposed to be yelling at him the whole time, right?
Yeah, he is not a likable character.
Yeah, he's not supposed to be. So, before we go too far in honorable mentions, though, I'll let you lead it in. Where do you start out at your personal number 5?
So my personal number 5, I actually went back and forth. I think I had 4 different movies in this spot before I settled on what I settled with.
Yeah, we're
I
gonna
went,
so yeah.
yeah. My number 5 is Billy Madison.
Okay, interesting.
So
That's possibly low on the list for a lot of folks, I would imagine.
I actually dropped that down the list. It was higher on my list,
Okay,
and I thought of a couple other movies that I
fair.
just wanted to. I would say my 2 through 5 is probably interchangeable. Uh, I enjoy them. My number 1 is my number 1, but the rest of the lists,
Oh, I mean,
it,
any of
it
the
could go
lists
anywhere.
depend on what day of the week you ask me on,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, come on.
So Billy Madison was actually the first Adam Sandler movie that I saw. I was way too young to see it. I think I was 7, maybe. Um, one of my older cousins was telling me, about this hilarious movie, this or that, and I asked my parents, "Can I rent this movie, Billy Madison?" And they said, "Okay, sure." They didn't know anything about it, and I think I got about halfway through the movie, and my mom shut it off, and she said, "You can't watch this." So of course, as a child, I waited for
You just
mom to go to bed
yeah.
and fired up that VHS and watched the rest of Billy Madison. I to this day, it's funny that it is my number 5 because I have such fond memories of this movie, of Norm Macdonald, of just Adam Sandler, of everyone in that movie. I just thought, watching it over and over again, like, that is an Adam Sandler movie that I have seen, 50 times over the years.
Yeah, I mean, Farley has a total of what, 30 seconds
Yes.
of screen time in the whole movie, and you can quote the shit out of that. I still do. That Veronica Vaughn.
That's correct.
Good. That's like part of my everyday vernacular. Come on.
So what is your number 5?
All right. So I have a lot of love for this movie because it's not typical Shabadoo Sandler man to the full extreme and kind of like had him playing a version of himself, which is funny. People, the Judd Apatow
Yep.
movie. I really liked this movie. It's not by any means perfect. I think Judd Apatow has a real problem with editing himself, and he just wants to include everything. So there's kind of a little bit of weird extra superfluous storyline going on in this movie where it starts out about Adam Sandler being sick, and then halfway through the movie that's not even really the focus of it at all anymore, and then we're going on to, but the overall theme is him looking back on, a life lived. uh it's just funny, man. I like Apatow's writing a lot of times, just kind of showing a more real version of people, even if it is, kind of an exaggerated version, obviously. um but great soundtrack too. His movies usually have great soundtracks. Put those Warren Zevon songs in there. And it even showed like there's a scene with Sandler playing music, which obviously is a huge thing for him. And I don't know, it's just a nice, fun movie that I've kind of like a bit of a comfort watch. And everybody's Seth Rogen is funny in it. Jonah Hill's tolerable in it, which I appreciate. Aubrey Plaza is hilarious in it. It's that's a pretty stacked cast actually. Now that I think about it, I haven't watched that one in a while, but it made the list, so maybe I have to go back now.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. Oh God, probably in a decade or so. I do remember enjoying it, but yeah, it's just not one that I think of
I
going
think
back to.
a lot of people buy, or people have since forgotten about it. I don't know, for whatever reason. If I stumble across it, I've put it back on. But yeah, flawed but good, and thus good enough for a number 5 for me. Take us to 4.
All right, so this is super controversial, and I probably should swap it out because it could very easily and quickly be argued that this is not an Adam Sandler movie at all. In fact, it is a movie that Adam Sandler has an uncredited cameo in. But
Counts.
okay, perfect. So my number 4 movie is really a Norm Macdonald joint, Dirty Work with Artie Lang. I just really wanted to shoehorn this movie into this list. It it's so stupid. It's a super poorly rated movie. Norm Macdonald, Artie Lang, Chevy Chase, is Jack Lemmon in it?
I don't
The
know.
cast is so, it's way too good for the movie. This was Bob Saget's directorial debut. It's
I
stupid.
know
Adam Sandler.
famously like hacked apart for after test audiences, and was taken from
Yes.
something hard R down to PG-13, which was probably not in service of anything in the movie.
Yeah, and it actually recently, I think it has been released. It got recompiled as the hard R version, which I would love to watch at some point. I believe right now it's selling physically for $50 to $60, and that's just a little.
Blu-ray is out, right? Yeah. But
Yeah,
they
I think the Blu-ray came out a few months back.
pieces off the floor of like a work print or something that they
Yep.
had, and then used CGI to try and blend it into the movie. The whole process was fascinating. I think we both watched the same YouTube video about the making of it.
Yeah, I believe it was Vinegar Syndrome that did the recompiling, and yeah, they did about a 20-minute video, a YouTube video on it, which I highly recommend to anyone that's remotely interested in that idea. Adam Sandler in this movie, he has maybe a 10-second part where he plays the devil and says, after Norm Macdonald is tripping balls on, I believe it was a brownie he ate, telling him that he's going to die, basically. Which, you know what? Let's take that away from my number 4. I got to talk about it, so I'll put that there. And there's another movie I wanted to on here.
Oh, we're just switching up the list.
We make the rules.
You're like, no, I've changed. Okay, fine.
The more I talk about it, and I didn't get this movie on my list, so I really want it on there. So number 4, my actual number 4 is going to be 8 Crazy Nights, the animated Hanukkah movie that Adam Sandler made. Again,
really?
Another
Animated, by the way, like the legit great animation in that movie. Call, yeah, hand drawn.
Yeah, hand drawn, animated. I would say it's it probably qualifies as a musical. There's enough musical numbers that I believe it probably is an animated musical. It's another, I believe, pretty poorly rated movie, but I do remember one of my cousins and we found this movie when it first came out, and for probably a good 10 years, we would quote the movie. Technical foul. There's Whitey, I believe he's a very short old man that Adam Sandler's character befriends that is a referee for a kids basketball league.
And Sandler did the voice of the old man and his
Yes.
wife, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember it, and I saw it on HBO or whatever it might have been way back in the day, or Comedy Central 20 plus years ago or whatever it was.
It
And
got a
yeah,
lot of play, I think, on Comedy Central for a
yeah,
while.
I remember liking it. Obviously, I remembered the animation, but it's just been a long time, man.
It's not. I mean, it's one that's probably best watched around Hanukkah or that season.
Holiday,
Obviously, as it's a Hanukkah movie.
yeah.
But yeah, I had to put that on my list after looking at some of this work and realizing
Oh, so
I can't let that one go away.
the list and still scrolling the IMDb just in case you forgot anything. The
You,
movie
you,
that you
you,
wanted to make sure to include was Dirty Work, one of your favorites of all time. All right, so you've traded it up.
you're pulling the curtain back here.
Actual
You're showing
Sandler.
how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
How about
So
you?
I guess that puts me at number 4, which I think is probably one that's on a lot of people's lists somewhere when talking about the better Adam Sandler movies, and that's Wedding Singer.
Mhm.
Great movie, fun comedy, silly, immensely quotable. For whatever reason, I use the line "Billy Idol gets it." I don't know why she doesn't get it all the time. Um, Funny, kind of looking at it now, because that movie was made in what, like '98 or something like that,
Yeah, 97, 98, I think.
and it's pushing, you know, 10, 15 years earlier, looking at it as a completely different universe in culture. That was the 80s kind of thing. What a weird thing that was looking back. And as we sit here in 2025 and I think about the world 20 years ago, it's pretty much seeming kind of the same. I don't know. It's just weird that we don't have those decade shifts anymore, and there is no like monoculture driving it. So I
Yeah.
wonder if, movies like that, looking back on those kind of frozen eras in time, won't kind of exist as much anymore, just because those types of phenomenons in culture won't be as ubiquitous. Not to get super deep into analysis of The Wedding Singer here, but yeah, it's weird because it's kind of a fun snapshot of 80s culture that was made like only a decade later, and it just, those types of shifts don't happen anymore, it feels like. uh,
That's pretty deep. I thinking about that.
Found about a Sandman movie, but
Yeah, no, it's you're right though. There's no. I'm sure there is, and maybe we're just so ingrained in our culture right now that it doesn't seem like 10 years ago was that much different. But yeah, off the top of my head, yeah, we don't really see those cultural differences. I think
I
that.
don't think of it in terms of decades anymore.
Yeah, I don't know how you describe the 2020s from the 2010s
Like a
from.
2012 period piece, like, is it gonna really, it's I don't know. It's a funny snapshot. Just got me thinking about, wow, it was not that long after the 80s occurred that they made this movie as a comedy of look how ridiculous the 80s were. Um and everybody was on board and it was funny as hell. And yeah, it's just like one of those good-natured comedies that, it's not the best movie in the world, but everybody's doing a great job and it's just, yeah, fun. And it's like
Back when you can get paid in
English Army is
meatballs.
like knocking it out of the park, let's be honest.
I think that brings us to my number three, which I I'm willing to bet is probably in your top three. I'm not sure how it will fall,
Go ahead.
but Happy Gilmore, my number three. I think that
I
probably
I
is higher for
I
some people.
mentioned then that my number 3 is also Happy Gilmore.
Oh, okay. Well, look at that. We match game. We won.
I
So
wrote
how,
here that HG 2 gets an honorable mention for a good effort, but Happy Gilmore is definitely, yeah, the classic.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore again could be as high as 2 for me. I don't think it will touch number 1 for me, but we've already talked mostly about Happy Gilmore 2, so there's not really a whole lot to talk about. This was I in my notes, I said it's it's a classic Sandler movie. It's probably one of the 3 I would consider classic Sandler movies. Um, it's probably pretty close to my most quoted Sandler movie and maybe one of my most quoted movies.
It's up there for sure.
The
Yeah.
amount of times that pretty much unprompted and maybe it doesn't work is, asking someone, if they eat shit for breakfast, eat pieces of shit for breakfast, is a little too high, but, Happy Gilmore came out 90, I think we said 96, 97.
Yeah.
So I was like thinking about it. I was probably still too young to actually even be watching Happy Gilmore when it came out, but it grew on me over the and it's definitely unlike Happy Gilmore 2, as you said. I can't see myself going back again and again to watch Happy Gilmore 2, but Happy Gilmore is one that it's a comfort food movie that if I
I
can't
mean, if
figure
I
out what to
scrolled across
watch,
it, yeah, if I scrolled across it, I'm probably gonna leave it on. And I would even, put it on just to watch. Be like, I just want something that's, wrapping me in a warm blanket of feel goods. Like that's right up there.
yeah, I've got nothing. I've got nothing else for Happy Gilmore. It's fun,
I think we
classic.
covered as it, yeah, as we both watched it. It's iconic for a reason. How about, I mean, I guess that takes us right into number 2, which you already covered. I mean, he opened up in Hollywood with his second movie, Happy Gilmore, right after his first, Billy Madison.
Yeah,
I would assume I don't remember how they either did at the box office, but
Happy Gilmore, I believe, or sorry, Billy Madison, I believe, did terribly. I have no
I
idea about Happy Gilmore.
and it's funny you share that story about you watching it, after your mom turned it off and everything. So I actually saw Billy Madison in theaters inadvertently because we had bought tickets to Billy Madison to try and sneak into the Jerky Boys movie. 'Cause everybody now talks about the Jerky Boys movie, 30 years on, and what a remembered and loved movie that was. And yeah, whatever the manager was who was doing his duty that day, we got the flashlight in the theater, and come on, guys, you're coming with us. And now we have to go watch stupid Billy Madison that looks dumb, and it was great. And I was what 12, probably, maybe younger. Um, and yeah, perfect comedy for that age for me. Loved it, and still immensely quotable. Still just like the best of Adam Sandler in a lot of ways. If you loved him in SNL and that whole period, I mean, it's difficult to tell people now like how much of a sensation stuff like the Thanksgiving song and the Hanukkah song were at the time. Like we didn't have viral videos. So like the live recording of Adam Sandler playing the Hanukkah song kind of thing was just so massive in the culture at the time. So when this movie came out, if it didn't do well, it certainly gained a cult following very quickly, I would think. To the point where by the time Happy Gilmore came out, people were like totally on board.
I just did a quick search while
If
you
I
were
remember
talking about it.
correctly. Yeah.
I can't see how Billy Madison did at the box office. However, it was pretty much universally panned by critics and I guess early audiences. But Happy Gilmore 2 was number 2 in the box office opening weekend and was largely a commercial success. So,
Happy Gilmore 1, you mean?
yes, sorry, I meant, yeah, Happy Gilmore
You're
1.
forgetting. We've been talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't have it yet. But yeah, Happy Gilmore apparently was a commercial success and
I feel like
made
Billy Madison is like, who is this weird dude? And he's yelling
yeah,
at shampoo, and what is this kid? And this is trash. And then by the time you get to Happy Gilmore, everybody's completely endeared to Adam Sandler. And that's the big difference.
I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head there.
And now we're going to both have the same number 1, I bet.
I would almost guarantee that we don't.
Okay. All right. Well, that could be interesting then.
I think my number 2 is probably your number 1. If our number 1s line up, I'd be very surprised.
Well, my
So,
number 2 is Billy Madison. So what's your number 2?
oh, there's number. Oh yeah. So yeah, my number 2 is The Waterboy,
Ah, okay. Yeah.
which I would guess is your number 1. You don't have to confirm or nor deny, and I feel like that would probably be a lot of people's number 1.
Not on my list.
Really? All right.
I
So
hate that movie.
it's
I hate that movie with a passion. I saw it in theaters. I hate
wow.
it.
All right.
It represents the worst of Sandlerism to me. I can't stand it, dude. Like a little bit, but when it's the entire character of all no. And if it hit you at a very different age than it did for me, because I think I was like 15, 16, somewhere around that, and full of piss and vinegar and not willing to love that maybe at that point, and I've always stayed with that, but it never resonated with me. So now that I've thoroughly shit all over your pick, go right ahead and explain why you love it.
No, that's okay because I enjoy The Waterboy so much more for the ensemble cast than I do Adam Sandler in that movie. I love Henry Winkler.
Okay, so credit where due. Henry Winkler, huge comeback movie for him, and
Yes.
he's a lovely man, and I love him, and he was wonderful in it. So I'll give you that for sure.
So we had Henry Winkler. You had Kathy Bates, who played Adam Sandler's mom, and she was awesome in that role. You had God.
Perusa Bulk.
Yep. You had Paul White, the giant from WCW, Captain Insano. He was the whole reason why Bobby Boucher basically became a football player. I don't know. Like you surprise me by the fact that you hate the movie so much. I can absolutely see why people wouldn't like the movie because yes, this movie is 100% peak, just out there Adam Sandler making goofy voices.
It's very self-indulgent, yeah, in that regard. And
yes.
like, you can do it all night. Like, good lord, do I hate Rob Schneider? That was in the whole Animal and the Carrot era too. And
Yes.
it's yeah, I think it probably hit me at the wrong time, honestly, dude.
But you have to admit that Lawrence Taylor probably has one of the greatest movie lines of all time in The Waterboy.
You may have to remind me.
So I believe it's just a cutaway of Lawrence Taylor, I believe, talking to a group of children, and it cuts to him, and he just says, and that brings me to my next point, don't smoke crack.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. That's good life advice. He lived it, he knew, and
Yeah.
that's it all.
God, that is another quote that I say too often.
He did get into acting there for a second. What was the Oliver Stone football movie that he came out with around the same time?
Oh God, was that Nope.
Jamie Foxx was like the hotshot backup QB. Oh man, that was terrible. Al Pacino was the coach.
Was that Any Given Sunday?
Any Given Sunday. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that was a product of the time.
So now I'm curious to hear who your number or what your number.
So number 1, and I'm surprised maybe this hasn't already been said by you. Talking about movies that are on Comedy Central that you love the virtue of that because it was always on and you can quote it front, back, and center, and you love it. And it's not even really an Adam Sandler movie, but I think sometimes he works better as a secondary character, as not as the direct lead, and that is Airheads.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's up there in one of my top comedies of all time, like Steve Buscemi, Brendan Fraser. Oh God, I mean who else is in that movie? Chris Farley, Michael Richards, Egon's in it for God's sakes, Harold Ramis, Lemmy is
Ernie Hudson, yeah, Lemmy, Judd Nelson,
Stuttering John, yeah, David Arquette,
Michael McKean.
Michael McKean, yeah, excuse me. Harry Shearer. Not Harry
Mike
Shearer.
Judge.
Yeah, not why would I want to say Harry Shearer? I don't want to say who's the DJ?
Yep. Oh my God, what's his name?
Joe Mantegna.
Thank you.
Was it Joe Mantegna? Yeah.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah,
everything about that movie is so 1993 post-grunge, whatever. It's just a very snapshot in time. but it's a lot of fun. Obviously, the premise for anyone that's not familiar is Adam Sandler, Steve Buscemi, and Brendan Fraser are a rock trio called the Lone Rangers, who use plastic guns from one of their Toys R Us jobs to hold people hostage at a radio station to get their song played on the air. And hilarity ensues. Uh, is that a fair descriptor? I mean, it's definitely silly, but not totally over the top as some of the movies that we've been talking about.
Yes, and it's funny because I might as well just give it away and say that Airheads was my number one on my list.
Good. All right. So I was hoping. Good. See, this is why we can claim to have the same brain, Wyatt. So,
Oh, Rob Zombie was also in the movie. I'm looking at a list now. David Arquette was in the movie.
I never David Arquette. Who was Rob Zombie?
He played himself.
Was there a concert scene or something?
I believe there was.
Zombie was in Ace Ventura, but I don't remember Airheads now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know.
And then I correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Mike Judge play Beavis and Butthead as like a radio call-in or something?
That's probably true. Yeah.
Yeah. It's sadly it's funny at this. I said there's other ones that I've watched over and over again, and Airheads is one that I probably haven't watched in close to a decade. And now that we're talking about it,
I've probably seen it the most times, and yet it may have been the longest since the last time I watched it. And it's up. I've watched spurts. I'm sure I've watched clips. I've thought of a quote and then watched a scene on YouTube or something. And those movies kind of exist. I have the DVD imprinted on my brain, which is funny now because I'm coming up short on any quotes that are appropriate at any given time. But I'm impressed we were able to rattle off as many names. Granted, you're staring at the IMDb.
Well, I am now, but really it was Rob Zombie that was the one that I just couldn't remember without seeing it that he was in it. But
I don't. When did that come out? Was that like 90?
That was 94. So this was actually, I believe, the first Sandler vehicle. I think Billy Madison came out in 95.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So he got kind of a secondary part in that before he got a starring role or his own movie kind of thing. I would have loved, like, Brendan Fraser was so good at kind of propping everybody up and playing a bit of the straight man kind of thing, so everything around him doesn't seem so ridiculous, but he was hilarious in that.
This was also peak, this was peak Brendan Fraser, early to mid to late 90s, seeing him in
We're not there yet.
well, this is I shouldn't say the peak. This is what started Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, this is like one
he was
stepping stone on the way to the mummy kind of thing.
What movie was he in with Pauly Shore? Because I believe that came out before this. Was that Encino Man?
Encino.
Yes. Yeah. So I think Encino Man came out in 92. So that was basically that
was your first Brendan Fraser. Wow. So I got to go look if I own Airheads on Blu-ray now, because that should be in my library, and I need to do a mandatory rewatch of that on a Friday night watch. Talk about a movie that you could just put on and not have to think about love. It's just, yeah. I mean, I still, Lemmy or God is always going to be a joke. And then him in the movie, I was editor at a school magazine. That's great. It's just great shit, man. All right. Well, I'm very happy that we both agreed there, and I would love to hear anybody else's thoughts. If anyone actually listens to this at any time, were we way off? Do you agree with our picks? Do you hate our picks? What would your picks be? Submit them to the place that we don't have for you yet, but we'll get there, and we'll be able to tell you about it, and you can yell at us about it in the future.
We're gonna have a lot of Click fandom, I think, coming into the mentions.
Oh yeah. Bits and pieces. I may have seen the whole thing at one point. It had Christopher Walken in it as like the weird scientist guy.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. I think I've seen Click twice. That was probably about where I stopped watching every Adam Sandler movie that came out.
Yeah, because he got into the stuff for that was more of a family movie than anything, or he was doing the family comedy thing for a while for sure with Grown Ups and all that stuff. And God, that guy's made Infinity movies. Not that many of them was memorable.
There was
As long as
one.
Jack and Jill wasn't on your list, I'm good.
Yeah, no. One movie that, I mean, I guess a lot of his movies aged pretty poorly, but a movie that I loved when it came out, and then I actually watched it, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 years ago, and I was like, yeah, it was a different time, and I have definitely matured since this movie came out. But I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry
Oh
with
yeah.
Kevin James.
So I never saw that, but I saw the movie that they borrowed it from. Was an Australian Paul Hogan vehicle, if you can believe it.
Ah, I did not know that.
Yeah, and it's almost like the same exact story and everything.
That doesn't
So,
surprise me. But yeah, I
yeah,
watched that again recently and was like, huh. Yeah, this misses the target these days.
it was a long time ago, so they meant well at the time. I
Yeah, I
think.
mean, it
Anyway, I
wasn't
don't know about Kevin James. I'll,
derogatory.
I'll,
It
I'll, I'll
just,
stand up for the Sandman.
I mean, Dan
Oh,
Aykroyd was in it. He played the fire chief, I believe.
Speaking of weird dudes, uh,
Segway.
yeah, really. So all right. Well, that was some dead air for us, folks. Um, what do we got going on next week? Are we going to talk about the bear next week? Are we going to try and actually rehash it because we were supposed to do that this week, and everybody was mad at the Bear 4 or refused to watch it after the Bear 3, and we both had feelings, I think, on the Bear 4. So, are we going to try and uh, get back our freshness on that? Maybe rewatch an episode or two, or bits and pieces here and there to try and come in fresh.
I think that is an admirable goal for next week. We clearly we don't have it yet because we had to push it off this week. As you said, we realized about 30 minutes before recording this that it's been a little bit longer since we've watched this, and we should both probably try to remember what we watched.
It's starting to blur in with other seasons, and the story just becomes one kind of whole. Not that I can't remember specifics that I enjoyed, but I'd like to really tap back and say, oh, this one scene where they did this with, Chucky on the window of the sandwich shop or whatever it might have been. There are a lot of great little bits that were in there that I'd like to touch back on, I think.
Yeah, I think
I'll do that.
that's an admirable goal for us. I think next week we'll try and do a nice little The Bear season 4 discussion, and I think I'm going to finish up this podcast, and I need to go get ready for Pinball League tonight, so that'll be fun.
Oh, cool. So, okay, I'm going to tell you to make a note about that. I'm sure I'll be talking to you while you're there because for those who don't know, Wyatt and I both play in pinball tournaments and usually spend most of it texting the other one about how poorly we are doing or expect to do. So it's a typical Friday night tournament text from Wyatt will be like, "Oh boy, I drew this machine that I'm really good at. I'm going to do terrible." And then 10 minutes later, "Okay, I got first." And I
And
think I'm
how did that night end up?
what's that?
And how did that night end up?
I don't know. I just remember the positives, Wyatt. I'm sure you did fine in the end. But
To
yeah,
last
we're
place.
both not very big believers in our own abilities and tend to soundboard the other when playing pinball. So I also have a tournament next Tuesday and Thursday. So by the time I think we record again, we should
Double
have
dip.
a solid tournament recap to have because I got Interium on Tuesday night.
Well, hey, good luck if I don't talk to you, which we know that that is both a lie, because I'm sure I'll talk to you as soon as we sign off from this, but so,
All right, buddy. Well, yeah. Let me know how it goes. I wish you the best of luck this evening. I know you're going to do good. So I put that out into the universe. New Hampshire's Pinball Society or whatever your club is called. Wyatt is the best. He will whoop your asses. Watch out for this kid. Till next
man.
time. I'd like to say we have a better intro or outro, but we don't have it yet. No.
Womp womp womp.
If I had the soundboard thing, I could have played a very that's a Taco Bell gong. I don't think you could hear that, but that was the closest thing I had to the Price is Right sound.
I appreciate it. Well, from Wyatt and Nick, we wish you guys a great week, and we'll catch you again next time.
Till next time, guys. Peace.